Hi class, this is Miss Hamilton. Today we're going to be looking at the cosine law. So yesterday we looked at sine law, today we're looking at cosine law. And the cosine law, there's a couple of different variations. I've actually given the cosine law to you on your cheat sheet in those different variations. So I just want to talk about what do you do when you have a non-right angle triangle and you don't have any side angle relationships. Okay. So if we were considering the following triangles, A, B, C, okay, this is side C, B, A. And what we're looking at is where we have images that do not line up with each other or there's no relationship. So for example, you could have, okay, an angle and two sides, okay, and there's no relationship between them. I'm just going to do another triangle to show you another variation. Okay, so again, this is a non-right angle triangle, as you can see, A, B, C. So this would be side C, A, B. You could also have an instance where you have all three sides and there's no relationship, so you're trying to find the angle. So this is where cosine law comes in handy to solve. So I'm just going to write out cosine law. You do have this law on you, okay, on your cheat sheet. So for example, if we wanted to solve for side A, it would be A squared equals B squared, okay, plus C squared minus 2BC cos A, okay? And again, the little letters represent the sides and the large letters represent the angles. Now, what I've done for you guys is I've given you all the side links, so all you would have to do is label your triangle ABC and then choose the correct equation for whatever you're solving to try to make your lives a little bit easier. Okay, so that would be to solve for side B, and then if you want to solve for, say, side C in this situation, right, A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. So as you guys can see, there kind of is a little bit of a pattern with the equation, okay? And all I'm saying here is, oh, sorry, this should be B here. All I'm saying here is this version of the cosine law for finding the side lengths, okay? So this is the version to solve for side lengths. I also gave you the version to solve for an angle, okay? And that's on your sheet, and we will go over that. We're doing 2 days of cosine law. So the best way to look at cosine law is to look at a couple of examples here, okay? And I just also want to highlight out that cosine law is used in acute and obtuse oblique triangles and also non-right angle triangles, okay? So that's really important, okay? Right here. That's what we're really talking about, solving non-right angle triangles. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at an example of how this might work out, okay? So find A. So what they've got given us is this triangle here, okay? And they're saying solve for A, okay? And what you'll notice is just like we've been given an angle and two side lengths, okay? There's no relationship between anything, okay? We can't solve anything else, so we have to solve for little a. So what we do is we use the cosine law. So our solution, okay, is to use the cosine law. Now, it's about finding what are you solving for. Well, right now we know we're solving for little a. So you're going to choose the equation a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a, okay? So I've just chosen the equation because, again, I'm solving for a, that's why. And now what I do is I plug in those values. Again, opposite side, this would be B, this would be C, and I obviously have angle A here. So I can plug in those values into my equation. So I have a squared equals 40 squared plus 25 squared minus 2, 40, 25 cos 20. And when you guys are solving this, I want you to solve it in two separate parts. I want you to solve this as one part, okay, and this as one part, and then we can combine them. So let's do that. So what we have is we have 40 squared plus 25 squared, okay, is going to give us a total of 2,425, okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on solving here. So I do -2 times 40 times 25 times cos 20, and I get a value of -1,879, okay, 0.38. Okay. And now I can subtract them. So I get a value of 345.62. But we're not quite done, because if you guys notice, there's a square value on the A, so we have to get rid of that. So in order to do that, we square root, okay, our answer. And we're going to round to one decimal place, so we get 18.6. Okay, is there units on this? No, there's not, so it's 18.6, okay, as our answer to solve for little a. So really, cosine law is you're just given a formula and you're just plugging in the values. It's following order of operations. So when you're solving, so some little hints, order of operations, you have to think of that. And then remembering that side lengths, so side lengths equals one decimal place, and that angles, okay, equals a whole number. So that's one version of a word problem that you could get. Okay, that's pretty basic one where you're given the angle and then the two sides. Let's do one where you actually have to draw out the answer yourself. So, in example 2, they give you the triangle ABC, given the side lengths AB, BC, and an angle 24. So find the length of AC. So what I would first do is just draw a triangle. Okay, that's going to help you. And now label that triangle A, B, C. And from here, now put in the measurements. So from A to B, it's 15 meters. B to C, it's 8 meters. Okay. And then angle B is 24 degrees. Okay. So again, we're given a non-right angle triangle. Okay. We're given an angle and two sides, and there's no relationship. There's nothing that matches up. There's no side length with B. There's no angle with C or A. Thus, we have to use the cosine law. Okay. Okay, because they are wanting to know what A to C is. Okay, and we would label this little b. Thus, we would actually choose to use the cosine law, b squared. So we're just choosing the other version that you have on your cheat sheet of the cosine law to solve for side B. Okay, minus 2ac cos B. Okay. Now all we have to do again is to take in those measurements. We know this is side A, we know this is side C because opposite sides to angles are those, and we plug in our information. So we have 8 squared, okay, plus 15 squared minus 2 times 8 times 15 times the angle cos of 24 degrees. So as I mentioned before, you want to you solve them as two separate entities. So solve that and then solve this as its own. Okay, going to make your life a lot easier. So we'll start with the first section. So we'll start with 8 squared plus 15 squared. Okay. We get a value of 289 when we put those together. Okay. And then what we would do is we would solve -2. Okay, so -2 times 8 times 15 times cos 24, and I get a value of -219.25. Okay. I would collect those like terms, okay, and you get a value, give me 1 second, you get a value of 69.5, but again, note that there's a square on the b, so we have to square root both those terms, and we find out the value of b, okay, is equal to, if we round to 1 decimal place, 8.4. So 8.4, and I believe we're working with meters in this situation, so 8.4 meters is your final answer, okay? And that was to solve a given triangle. So we're going to do 2 days of this, so I've only given you 4 questions for homework, okay? So that's what you're going to be finishing off, page 39, number 1, 3, 5, and 8. And remembering that just pick the equation to solve what you're trying to find. So identify what you're solving, and then choose appropriate equation. Choose appropriate equation. Okay guys, so finish up that homework, page 39, number 1, 3, 5, and 8, and have a good day.